Right. Well, good morning everybody, and thanks for coming. My name is Jeremy Bayston, and until quite recently I was the picture editor at the Sunday Times in Glasgow, and I also did 10 years on the Sunday Times picture desk in London. So it'll be no surprise, I guess, for you to learn that I'm going to be talking to you about pictures. In particular, pictures and SEO, search engine optimization. And when search engines and the internet began, pictures were very much discarded and regarded as something to be discouraged. And the reason for that is obviously they're big files, and with dial-up connection it took a long time for your page to download, and that was a distinct disadvantage. But now that you've got broadband, and now in particular that search engines are looking to give you a richer search experience, pictures are coming into their own. Google have kind of led the way, as they often do, with what they've called the universal search, which everybody now calls the blended search. And that search now means that instead of just looking for websites, they will scan and look for blogs, they'll look for videos, they'll look for news feeds, and they will look for pictures. And as Alan mentioned earlier, if you're not on the front page, then that's a real disservice for you in terms of your website. If you optimize your pictures that are on your website, you can find a way of getting your pictures onto the front page where your website may not, in fact, be anywhere near the front page. And that's a way of leapfrogging some of the big boys. So, as with all things, when you're doing on the internet and search engines, you have to do it properly. And there are just a few tips here as to how to optimize your pictures so that you can get them onto your search engine ranking files and further up the rankings. Just to give you an example earlier, as I said, that these things can be important. I googled Edith Piaf yesterday, and the first thing that came up was the Wikipedia. Yes, you remember her? Yes, she's dead. Yeah. That's the first thing it said on Wiki, actually. She's dead. Why are you looking for her? She's dead. And obviously the first hit was Wikipedia, which gave a life story and a biography. But after that, there were 3 videos, 7 pictures, and then in 4th place, 7 further websites. So that just gives an indication of how pictures can bump up onto the front page and be there waiting for people to look at. And there were 7 pictures from 7 different websites, and as you went and clicked on each of them, obviously you could go to that website. So it is useful. Now, as I say, when you put your pictures onto the website, depending on where they've come from, they have different file names. And some of them are DSC file names that come from a digital camera or from a mobile phone, and each implement that you use for that gives its own personal file name. And what you need to do initially is change the file name so that it actually more accurately describes what that picture is. So if it's a picture of a dahlia or a picture of a tin of baked beans, it should be called tin of baked beans or dahlia, because that's what the search engine will look at and the spiders will recognize. So that's the first thing you should be looking at. Secondly, when you go in and start doing the alt attributes, the alt attributes were something that were put in to enable accessibility. And basically what it means is that when you put the mouse over that picture, it will tell you in a brief caption what that picture is. And it's for people who either don't use browsers that allow pictures, or perhaps have some visual impairment, which means that they can't see the pictures. But it's also a great opportunity to put a very concise and accurate description in there, which again will be picked up by the SEO search engines. So put a description into the alt captions. And when you're putting descriptions in, please bear in mind your keywords and key phrases, because of course if you put your keywords and key phrases into those descriptions, then that will also help search engine optimization. So as well as a good description and your keywords, the other thing that you can do when you get down to putting a big description in, because you'll then have a description box to fill, is putting in some of those connections. So if you can connect your picture to something else which will also be searched for, that will give you an advantage. So for example, if you have a picture of Lady Gaga well, Lady Gaga is pretty popular in her own right. But if your caption and description in the description box says Lady Gaga is a YouTube superstar, then you are connecting her not just to your site via Lady Gaga, but also the YouTube search as well. So if you can connect big search factors like that, then it will help your SEO and move those pictures onto the front page. The golden scenario for pictures is actually to have the picture on its own separate page, and that way the page is optimized completely for whatever search engine keywords or key phrases that you put on there. So if you had a separate page that the thing went to, and you had the file name correct and the alt attributes correct and the descriptions, etc., and you also had a good caption, then that would be a perfect page, a perfectly optimized page. The way you can do that is by, when you have the hyperlink on the page that you would normally go to the picture, you describe what the picture is in that hyperlink. So instead of having the hyperlink saying click here, you would say view Lady Gaga pictures of in New York here. And that means that the search engine spiders on the initial page with the hyperlink will know exactly where that link is going, and that will help the first page. But also, because you are then going to the main separate page which is entirely dedicated to that picture and the keywords and key phrases that go with it, it means that you've got two pages which are optimized instead of just the one. So I guess the thing I would leave you with is the idea that the generations which are coming up now, we've all gone past, thankfully, Generation X, we're now into Generation Y, and the millennial generations are all far more visual than we ever were. And if you do not think visually, you are losing your advantage over some of your competitors. And just bear in mind that now YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google. That's all pictures, and it's all moving pictures or it's stills, but either way it's pictures, and you have to optimize accordingly. So, thank you very much.